morning. Making sure you can hear me, right? Okay. So thank you so much. Thank you to the honorable officials welcoming us to China, welcoming us to Hangzhou. Thank you to the organizing committee who have worked tirelessly to put on this amazing event. It's time for us to come together. Thank you for the sponsors for your financial support as well as bringing your innovations. It's show and tell time. It's time to show the proof of all the hard work that have gone into the innovations here in China. And thank you to the distinguished guests who have traveled from very far or locally to be here to celebrate the amazing accomplishments that you have made together on RISC-V, to celebrate the future that is in front of us and all the hard work that got us here. This is your time. This is our time together, and I'm so honored to be part of this amazing point in history as we turn towards a freedom of design that has never been seen before in computing. RISC-V has ushered in a future unlike any other because it is a standard. It is a standard that we can build upon as the foundation for compute. It enables the levels of customization and implementations because we can collaborate on that standard. A standard that is very much like you find in Ethernet or HTTP. We use standards in every part of our life. It is the connective capability between the software and the hardware that really allows us to innovate on top of and around that. So welcome to that new innovative era, the one that you are creating, that you are collaborating on, that's opening up the possibilities of development partners, supply chains, and markets for everyone. We have been growing tremendously fast. Together around the world, we are now more than 4,500 members. Still growing fast every single year. I signed 5 memberships yesterday, right? And yesterday was much like many others in RISC-V. It is amazing to see how much excitement, interest, and innovation is going on in this community. So as we continue to grow, as we continue to collaborate, it is important that we think about the entire world of opportunity. Today, we continue to have about 30% of our members in North America, about 30% in Europe, and another 30% in Asia Pacific, with somewhere between 15 and 17% of that in China. These numbers, this collaboration, this potential is something that happens at a global level. As we invest locally in China, I implore you, I encourage you, set your sights on collaboration globally. Because at the global level, in RISC-V International, across our community, within our work groups, that's the power of collaborations. That is the power where RISC-V unleashes your future. So let's think about that. Where is China in this global opportunity? When we think about the contributions that China is making, I walk around I go around the world, I give talks like this, and I say, look at China. Look at what China is bringing to RISC-V. You are bringing innovations. You are bringing thought leadership. You are bringing an example of contribution to open and global opportunities, whether that is in our global standard and our specification development, or it's importing and bringing important workloads onto RISC-V. The work in Android started right here at Alibaba, right? That sets an example that the rest of the world sees and understands that China is investing locally collaborating globally. And think about the future that that is paving, the road that that is creating for everyone that follows. In China, this means that you are feeding into the thought leadership that is creating the base building blocks, laying the road for the future of computing. This allows for collaboration and shared leadership in that global standard. And that collaboration alone opens doors. It opens opportunity. It says that what you create here is going to work around the world. What you create and build in China has potential and market opportunities to build those relationships globally. And I encourage you to keep that mindset. It is stunning to see the level of innovation and progress just in the halls that weave through this hotel. In all those innovations, it is amazing to see. Last year, about a year ago in Beijing, I had to go get extra suitcases for all the innovations that are like, hey, bring this to the next show. We want to be on that global stage with you. And I promise I bring you to that global stage. A special thanks to the premier members from China and the Greater China area that are helping us to support fundamental building efforts together in this community. You see the thought leaders in China represented here. We engage absolutely at that global level in our board meetings with these premier members, in our technical steering committee with these premier members. And if that is a spot for your organization to further engage, we invite you. We welcome you. So I'm going to talk about 4 things that are fundamental truths to why RISC-V is such a meaningful part of the collaboration and the future of computing. First, we are at a point in time in history where there is tremendous work opportunity, tremendous opportunity to bring new workloads onto an architecture at a time when those new workloads don't have an established legacy architecture. We have a standard in RISC-V that allows for all the design freedom you could ever imagine. Build exactly the implementation that fits for the challenge you're wishing to overcome. So that absolutely unleashed, unconstrained innovation opportunity is yours. It's yours. It's all you. Everything we do is based on the community collaboration. And those are the programs that we're building. We collaborate today in nearly 80 different work groups to devise, design, and ratify extensions and specifications that matter, that usher in new workloads like AI using matrix and vector together to progress the state of the art. That opens a door for you to work together with others to tackle those types of workloads. At the end of the day, we think technology is really cool. We think technology changes the world when it allows and opens doors for commercial success. So why not take those innovations to the next level? Think about ways you can bring them commercial value back to your organization, whether it's an R&D department in one of the many universities here, or it's the R&D from one of the established organizations in China. So let's talk about that market opportunity. I get to see lots of charts like this. The opportunity is right in front of us. We're growing rapidly. You used to hear us talk about more than 13 billion cores in market. We're changing to now talk about how many SoCs. And it's interesting that some other architectures are deciding not to talk about how many SoCs in market anymore, but that's another story. For now, suffice it to say that we are growing really fast. We are being seen in various workloads around the world, and that is being fruitful to those who are engaged in it. So not just by the numbers. 16 billion can be a lot. That's the volume. But where is that in revenue? So today, this is forecast to be more than a $92 billion market by 2030. These workloads are growing tremendously fast and having incredible impact on these markets. We'll get into all the fine print on this chart in a minute, but understand that that market opportunity is yours. And when you go after that opportunity in a collaborative fashion, you have so much room for your unique differentiation. So let's talk about technical innovation, right? I mentioned R&D a minute ago. On average, semiconductor companies are spending 13% of their revenue on research and development. That's a lot, especially as you grow. Not every organization wants to commit that level or has the luxury of committing that level of investment to their R&D department. When you start with shared-based building blocks, like you find in RISC-V, you accelerate your time to market. You accelerate your development roadmap. You accelerate the time to market. And this is an important aspect as we all compete in these global markets for that mind share. So what does that collaboration mean? It means instead of pursuing these opportunities in isolation or by yourself, you get to unleash the opportunity of, the scalable processing and the customization, the extensibility of a base modular architecture that allows you the capability to add unique functionality. This means that while you're designing your silicon, you can also begin optimizing that software to run on top of it. And finally, this means that you have the opportunity to adjust many different variables. If you're looking for power consumption savings, if you're looking for high performance, if you're looking for a small form factor, if you're looking for a rugged form factor, these are the kinds of variables that you have specific control over in your implementation. Beyond that, there is a plethora of shared tools and other design services you can tap into. By leveraging that common base, you can work with many different silicon providers. You can license and work with development partners around the IP itself, and you have opportunity to work on the software that optimizes directly to that hardware. This brings your innovation to life. We are not just companies. We are entire countries. Over the last couple of years, you've seen and read many different articles about the innovations going on in India. You see and understand the many different innovations that are now coming to market in Brazil. And since the beginning, we've been hearing about the incredible innovations that are coming from China. It is becoming a national imperative for countries to gather and invest around the companies and their digital sovereignty that then engages in those global markets, that global opportunity. So for us in China, that means continue investing in your universities, build talent, continue incubating new companies, new ideas, new IP. We see many examples of the public-private partnerships that are bringing these solutions to market, such as Beijing open source chip with Professor Bao. Amazing examples that we see coming to the market. Multinationals. Many multinationals have a major investment in existing architectures, and they too are finding room in their portfolio of business interests to look more closely and innovate and invest in RISC-V. Research. Research is the cutting edge of the art of the possible. Together, we are finding ways to bring those innovations to market, that they don't just live on in universities, but that they come to market as solutions that our world relies on. And startups. There's been no better time to start a company in the semiconductor business than there is right now, The barriers to entry have gone away, and we are ushering in more and more startups into our RISC-V International every day. They don't have that pre-existing investment, and they can get started on their future right away. So I mentioned a lot of collaborative programs, and I hope that you'll all take advantage of these, whether it is working shoulder to shoulder with the brightest minds in our industry within our working groups, folks who are very dedicated and knowledgeable about their field. That accelerates your learning. That accelerates your roadmap. Think of how much you can absorb and learn and gain by being on that inside track. Learning. We have established a foundational certification program and course. It's also available in Chinese so that you can become certified in RISC-V. And we're working on more programming there as well. And then also around software enablement, as we invest deeply in accelerating the on-ramp for software to come onto RISC-V in a most optimized fashion. Marketing. Marketing is so important as you look for customers. Look to us to help amplify your message, celebrate your innovations, and talk about your launch. We've made incredible progress. This includes 123 ratified extensions in just the past couple of years, and more coming out with nearly every monthly board meeting. We have 75 plus technical working groups that are collaborating around various specifications and extensions that matter to your innovation. Now understand that our goal is to get to a state of perfection. Freeze it for the test of time. Our goal is not to ever need to go back and rewrite any of these. And these are key contributions that we're seeing across the leadership of our many different groups from China. In our AI and machine learning SIG, you see lots of notable leadership there. In Android, as I mentioned, Alibaba helped us bring that out to market in the first place and is now hitting mainstream. The architecture test SIG. This is so important as we continue to refine our certification process, as we look to opportunities to ensure that what certifies on one platform is consistent with another. And we have a certification steering committee that is gearing up for just that. IOPMP, managed runtimes, packed SIMD, so many different task groups that we have deployed that have China leadership. And I appreciate all of that leadership, not just in our technical committees, in our marketing, as well as on our board. That robust ecosystem. You don't want just hardware, you need the software and the workloads to run on top of it. So we're working hard to enable that upstream adoption. We ensure that anything that is coming through our processes is fed and coordinated with the upstream community. And then we contribute hardware directly into some of those strategic software projects in universities to help accelerate that path. And we are investing in our developer journey and our developer tools and resources to make it even easier for all of our engineers and developers to work with RISC-V. This is a couple of examples of the developer boards program, as well as RISC-V Labs, a sandbox to try your innovations. Again, you're seeing China leadership. I mentioned our certifications and online learning. Here's an example of that. And if you're a member, you receive a substantial discount on this training and certification as well. So I do hope that you'll take a closer look at that. RISC-V marketing. We amplify events like the RISC-V Summit China, in addition to RISC-V Summit Europe and RISC-V Summit North America. These are the forums where we come together. In between those, we have a blog. We have a website that is in Mandarin. We amplify news and announcements around the world. We consider us an extension of your own marketing team and PR engine. We allow and enable opportunity to list your innovations and solutions, whether it's on RISC-V Exchange or being part of our ecosystem landscape. Think of the ways that we can help you establish your brand, grow your visibility and eminence in the RISC-V community. So it is our mission to help you cultivate relationships. As you work shoulder to shoulder with your peers, as you develop business and technical relationships, as you increase visibility of your organization as well as the leadership you bring to the community, we are here to help you accelerate your roadmap. And that leads us to the many different markets where RISC-V is gaining traction. It's gaining incredible, I didn't realize how much I was standing in front of it. It helps to have a little rear view mirror, I guess. So by 2030, RISC-V will account for almost a quarter of the global market. Think about that. This is a massive market, right? And we're going from 0 to 25%. You know, several years ago, about 3 years ago, I had a conversation with an analyst. And they were projecting that we're in about a quarter of new designs at that time, that there was at least one RISC-V core. I asked him more recently, I said, well, how are those numbers looking now? And he looked at me, kind of confused, and he said, you know, it's actually difficult for me to find a new design start that doesn't include RISC-V. We are absolutely everywhere. And that is because of the hard work of this community. So let's think about where those revenues are coming from. $25 billion by 2030, this is just for China. So China CAGR from now into 2030 is moving forward at a very fast clip of 47.9%. That's incredible. What markets are growing this quickly, right? RISC-V. RISC-V is. And what was $1 billion in 2023 is $25 billion in 2030. That is some math that you can build a business on. So what are the overall global market shares? If you squint, it looks like about a quarter of every market on this page, right? So we are seeing this in wearables, in electronics, in computing, in notebooks, in communications, in 5G infrastructure, as well as handsets, moving into consumer AI acceleration, industrial, smart grid, and of course automotive with more AI. In fact, we see RISC-V being attached in AI capacities across many different workloads. This is an exciting time. This is the first chapter of the next many generations of compute built on RISC-V. Here are some of the examples, and again, if you walk these halls, you'll see many more. But these are just a few of the examples that we see coming from China of that innovation. This is the showcase of innovation for RISC-V. And we are so proud and so impressed by these innovations. You know, Banana Pie just came out with their developer board. Eswin has kits that are targeting edge computing and AI, and deep computing and others. So please take a look at each of these as you walk the halls. Think about the ways that you are engaging in RISC-V International. Think about the relationships you're building with other developers, with other engineers, with other businesses, and together with your customers. Think about how we are building a community. We are building a community that supports your success and that you can pin your future on. This is an incredible time for innovation, an incredible time for RISC-V. So what do you do next? Where do you go from here? After you've enjoyed your conversations, built new relationships, made at least 5 or 6 new friends while you're here, then think about what you can do next. Join. If you're not already a member, become a member, and then engage in these technical work groups. Look at how you're advancing industry adoption. Let us help you do that. Join the market development groups, the marketing groups. Bring your customers, your suppliers. Think about how we can do this together. And I think that's my last slide. So thank you so much. I'm so honored to be here.